Another big thing that has happened this week, or this past week, I should say, is the Jokic and Morris fight. Um, I know late game fouls are a thing, and I understand slowing the clock down, but that seemed like a pretty aggressive foul coming from Morris against Jokic at the end of the game there. Uh, what's your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I mean, I watched the clip over and over and over again, and you know, Morris, he nudged him and he hit him pretty hard, and Jokic took offense to it, and he came from behind and hit him really really hard, and it just started a chain reaction. I mean, the Jokic brothers are talking smack to the Morris brothers on Twitter. The Jokic brothers are saying they're going to go to the next Miami Heat game to sit there and see what happens. So there's a lot of controversy and there's a lot of social media beef right now. But I think that, I mean, overall, what happened, Jokic got a 1 game suspension. And then Morris and Butler got 50, I think 25 or 50K fined. To those guys, that's like pocket change. But
Yeah.
Butler was just, after it happened, he was yelling. He was like, meet me in the locker room, meet me there, meet me. Like he was ready to go at it. So I overall, I think I think Morris, I think Jokic should have actually been suspended for a little bit longer. I think 1 game suspension is really rough. He should have been suspended for a week. That was a really hard foul from behind, and coming from an MVP, that shouldn't be something that should be taken lightly. I mean, 1 game suspension. I mean, that should be a week suspension. I mean, last year, when he was playing and he had that really hard foul up against Cameron Payne with the Suns when he was an MVP. I mean, he's making some decisions and doing some things right now that are questionable for a former MVP that just won the MVP award. So I think that play was really really dirty on Jokic's part, but I do believe that Morris has a tendency to be one of those guys that is a dirty player or is an enforcer, and for him to make that play, Jokic probably just thought it was more than it really was. It was it was a hard nudge. I mean, it was a flagrant foul for sure, but Jokic took offense to it, and Butler, and as a result, they got fined for it. I mean, what do you think about the whole
I'm
thing?
gonna disagree with you on it. I think that was almost the exact response that Jokic needed to do. He's been the nice guy his whole career in the NBA. People keep telling him he needs to not be soft. He needs to get more physical. And after, the week before, we had talked about it, about him going out for a game with getting knee to knee contact. And then
Yep.
Morris comes running at him across the court when they're down, what, almost
I
20 points? They're down 20
Yeah.
points with 12 seconds left, and Morris comes across the court and jumps into him. And you watch that replay, his knee hits Jokic's knee on the side and bends it inwards. I'd be pissed too. I would knock Morris down to the ground. Morris walked away, being like, he's not going to do nothing. I think, like, obviously, I don't agree that he should do it in the sense of, like, Morris could have been hurt. But I think Jokic needs to make a stand, be like, you can't be hurting me like this. You can't be attacking me, especially in garbage time with 12 seconds left. That was a bullshit call or play by Morris. It was unreasonable, unnecessary, and I think Jokic really needed to put that stand and be there and be like, "Hey, don't attack me. It's not cool. It's not right. It's not the time for that type of foul ever." That was a side swipe on him, and that could have really damaged if like Morris came at him just slightly harder and Jokic's knee went in and tore his meniscus or his MCL because of a garbage foul with 12 seconds left. What would the story be? It would be a completely different topic of conversation.
Yeah. And now that you bring that up, I do agree with you a little bit now, because when I kept watching the video, I did kind of notice that he was swiping by the knee, and that's where he got injured in the last game. So he definitely retaliated. And you're right. I mean, good for Jokic. I mean, he stood up for himself. He's not the nice guy anymore, and he retaliated and was a little bit more aggressive. So that aggressiveness obviously is not tolerated, and nobody ever wants to see him come from behind and hit someone like that. But he should translate some of that intensity and that anger and that into the game to make him a 2-time MVP. But overall, I feel like you're right. It was necessary to retaliate, but coming from behind and hitting him, and
I completely agree. He got suspended, and I think he should have gotten suspended. That was not the right reaction. But also, if you're allowed to, with 12 seconds left, come at someone from the side full speed and bump into them, coming from someone who has dealt with knee injuries, and like it's
guys
not
running into your knee.
Yeah, and I took major offense to like Markieff doing that. That was completely uncalled for. With what are you doing? It's not like there's 12 seconds left and you're down 4 and you're trying to get a last second shot. No, you're down
Right.
You're on 20. This is almost like the Russell Westbrook being mad that the Thunder stole the ball and dunked on them when they were up 26 points. But that I'm like they dunked the ball. They're a young team. Cool. This is, you're down 20 points. I'm going to go and do a really hard foul on the former MVP and the star centerpiece on this Nuggets team and possibly derail their season and this man's career by smacking this guy's knee. That is absolutely uncalled for.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it overall was uncalled for, and the Twitter beef is kind of funny.
It is
it's one of those things where it's just like they're just talking smack and whatnot. But I mean, it's I don't know. We'll see what happens when the Jokic brothers go to the next Miami Heat game and see what happens. But yeah, I agree with you, and I agree with you. Disagree with you I agree with you with most of it, and disagree with maybe a little bit of it. But overall, it was uncalled for.
Thank you for watching this episode of Coach Mike and OB. Full episodes of this podcast will be released every Monday, and segments such as this will be released every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Please leave a comment, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.